and partnership.
The president also urges China to stay committed in finalizing the code of conduct in the South China Sea. In the same special summit, Chinese President Xi Jinping said, quote, joint efforts are needed to safeguard stability in the South China Sea and make it a sea of peace, friendship, and cooperation. But China previously accused the Philippines of trespassing. Meantime, Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana says that the supply boats resumed their mission and are expected to arrive in Ayungin Shoal tomorrow. Lorenzana adds that Chinese Ambassador Wang Zhilian assures that they will no longer interfere with the mission. In an interview with CNN Philippines Western Command Chief Vice Admiral Ramil Enriquez says that it took some time to repair the boats following the encounter with the Chinese Coast Guard.
Always do it by air, kaya lang malilimit. Actually, tinanong ako kahapon nung isang senior officer, bakit hindi niyo padala ng helicopter? May dala kasi tayong malalaking bagay tulad nung mga tangke ng gasol na hindi na magkasya doon sa chopper. So, the most economical and viable option that we have is by boat.
Westcom adds that based on their monitoring, only 2 Chinese Coast Guard vessels remain in Ayungin and there has been a significant decline on the number of Chinese militia boats in the area. Other countries showed their support to the Philippines following the Ayungin Shoal incident. The United States, Japan, Australia, Canada, France, Germany, and the European Union say that countries must comply with UNCLOS and uphold the 2016 South China Sea Arbitral Award. Tristan Odalo, CNN Philippines.
Over the weekend, the team of presidential aspirant Ping Lacson received radio warnings from the Chinese military while on board a flight to Pag-asa Island in Palawan.
Approaching our business. Please stay away from the area and leave immediately. Access is unfriendly and dangerous. This is Chinese TV. You are approaching our military alert zone. Leave immediately in order to avoid misjudgment.
Our correspondent George Cahilas and his crew, who were on a separate flight, also said Chinese authorities radio challenged their flight a few minutes before landing. Their pilots say it was not the first time they experienced it.
You are reporting on accurate. To avoid any move, let the vehicle in the landing.
Nasanay na siguro. Nine-nervous din pero teritoryo natin to, sir.
A number of Chinese vessels were seen swarming the area. Lacson visited the island to check the situation of locals there. The presidential hopeful earlier said the country should not be a pushover in its own territory and that apart from filing diplomatic protests, the Philippines should ally with powerful nations. Two more groups classified as high risk for COVID-19, senior citizens and persons with underlying illnesses are now eligible to get booster shots against the disease, included are those living with HIV as well as cancer and transplant patients. Our Chrissy Limatulak reports.
Leah Junicio is a retired healthcare worker. She is a senior citizen and has diabetes. On Monday, the government started providing booster shots to senior citizens and people with underlying illnesses. Junicio is one of the first people in East Avenue Medical Center to receive an additional dose.
I had my first and second dose in other country, in Saudi Arabia. So I need the booster shot. Kasi parang feeling ko yung vaccine medyo humihina na.
Booster shots are administered 6 months after the completion of doses. Senior citizens and people who have weak immune system can choose if they will be getting the same vaccine or a different brand. Dr. Nina Gloriani of the Vaccine Expert Panel meantime warns that those who will choose a different brand of vaccine are at risk of having more side effects.
Heterologous na boosters, yun ang may data na mas marami ang nagkakaroon ng reaksyon. Yung reactogenicity is higher. Hindi naman talagang nagiging severe, pero mild to moderate pa rin. Pero mas marami ang nakakaramdam ng side effects pag iba ang itinurok sa kanila.
The Health Department issued the guidelines only a day before the rollout. Most of Metro Manila mayors were not able to implement it today. The agency says they already informed regional health offices and LGUs about the protocols over the weekend. Qualified vaccinees may just bring their vaccination card and valid ID. For the immunocompromised, a medical clearance from their physician is also needed. Vaccination sites should have a separate lane for the booster shots.
Kwarto
ng mga babakunahan ng booster kesa doon sa babakunahan ng primary series para wala pong magulo o wala pong magkakapalit-palit kapag tayo ay nag-umpisa na po ng bakunahan. Kailangan po tayong makapag-delegate din ng special lanes para sa ating mga nakakatanda at para po doon sa mga may comorbidities na hindi pa po sila nababakunahan.
For now, booster shot is not recommended for the general population. The Health Department is still waiting for the final recommendations from the World Health Organization. The MMDA recommends LGUs to avoid allowing walk-ins and to inform those who will be receiving their booster shots beforehand. This is to avoid overcrowding in vaccination sites. Those who want to receive their additional doses in another area may register in its LGU. Chrissy Di Matulak, CNN Philippines.
Following the rollout of vaccines for some programs in higher education, the University of the East in Manila has reopened its doors to dentistry students. The school recently got the go signal from the Commission on Higher Education to resume limited face-to-face classes for clinical requirements after almost 2 years. For students and teachers, the in-person setup is better, especially for programs that require hands-on practice.
Face-to-face. Kahit risky, pero kung i-follow yung protocol, yung guidelines, yung infection control, magiging okay naman po.
The manner on how they're moving, how they're treating it would be like they're treating actual patients. So the position and everything, the proper position of a dentist when treating a patient cannot be duplicated online. It's better to do it in face-to-face clinics.
The university says it will soon see clearance to increase the number of students in its classrooms. The Philippines sees yet another drop in daily new COVID-19 cases. The Health Department reporting 984 new cases today, bringing the nationwide tally to over 2.9 million. This is the second time in less than a week that the country recorded less than 1,000 cases. Total recoveries stand at 2.76 million, while over 47,200 people have died of the disease. Yesterday, the country saw more than 2,000 new cases for the first time in 11 days. But Octa research fellow Dr. Guido David says the higher number was only due to backlogs. He adds daily cases may even drop to around 500 by year-end, but he did not discount the possibility of another surge. The DOH reminds the public not to let their guard down and still observe minimum public health standards. It also appeals to those who still refuse to be vaccinated to get their COVID-19 shots. Up ahead, oil companies announce a rollback in fuel prices. How cheaper will gasoline or diesel be starting tomorrow? And K-pop sensation BTS is Artist of the Year at the 2021 American Music Awards. Details next on Newsnight.
Sang-ayon ba ang lahat na ang best tasting chicken dog ay TJ din? Walang duda na ang tender, ang juicy, best tasting chicken hotdog talaga. Chicken ang desisyon. Kids can tell, best tasting ang TJ chicken dog.
Petron Diesel Max keeps your engine clean and protects it against corrosion, so nothing gets in the way of your engine's power. Petron Diesel Max. Tough outside, clean inside.
Kabilang ba kayo sa mga Pilipino na nahihirapan sa mga transaksyon dahil wala o kulang ang mga valid IDs?
Huwag nang mag-alala dahil narito na po ang PhilSys, ang identification system ng bawat Pilipino.
Para sa Step 1 registration, pumunta lang sa register.philsys.gov.ph para makapag-register sa PhilSys online. Ito ang PhilSys, ID natin to.
Beer call muna tayo. Beer call muna tayo. Kahit kailan, walang iwanan. Beer call muna tayo. Beer call muna tayo.
Mamasko po! This Christmas, we may not be celebrating the way we used to because of the ongoing pandemic. But there is still a lot to be grateful for. And definitely a lot of ways we can share the Christmas spirit with others.
Ngayong Pasko, bukod sa paghahanda natin ng salo-salo sa sarili nating tahanan, samahan niyo po kami ni Isa na mag-sponsor ng iba pang pamilya para sa kanilang Pure Foods Noche Buena. Mula sa halagang 800 pesos, maaari na tayong magbahagi ng Pure Foods Fiesta Ham, Tender Juicy Hotdog, TJ spaghetti sauce.
Your new favorite viands are also now made ready to eat by Pure Foods. Crispy fried chicken, caldereta, kare-kare, and many more. Your Noche Buena can be ready in as little as 15 minutes.
Wow!
Ang bilis!
Isang kompleto at masayang pagdiriwang ng Noche Buena ang naghihintay para sa inyo at para sa pamilyang reregaluhan ninyo ng Pure Foods Noche Buena Pact.
Ito ay mahahanap sa San Miguel Foods website. Magtungo sa thehub.sanmiguel.com.ph. Let us continue the spirit of Christmas giving so more of us can celebrate the season.
Sama-sama po tayong magdiwang ng Pasko! Buo ang Pasko sa Paskong Pure Foods!
Welcome back to Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Just how important is the COVID vaccine? Data from the health department show that 86% of hospitalized coronavirus patients are not fully vaccinated, while more than 90% of those who died were unvaccinated. The DOH also reports an additional 426 Delta variant cases for March to April and September to November. That brings the total number of Delta infections to over 7,000. As more people get their COVID shots, officials hope we will not suffer the same fate as that of Europe, which is facing another wave of infections after relaxing health protocols.
One of the major difference siguro, nung nag-relax sila ng restrictions, pati yung minimum public health standards like wearing of mask and the other restrictions, tinanggal nila. Dito naman sa atin sa Pilipinas, nakikita po natin through the months from the start of the pandemic, nakita natin na yung behavior ng ating mga kababayan ay nag-i-improve na in terms of wearing of mask, frequent hand washing, tsaka yung physical distancing natin. So hopefully that doesn't happen to us.
108 areas are under alert level 2, while 12 cities and provinces are still on alert level 3. Only Catanduanes is still under alert level 4, which is at high risk for COVID-19. An island in the West Philippine Sea has not seen a single COVID case since the pandemic began. That is the Pag-asa Island, the largest in what we call the Kalayaan Island group within Philippine waters. As George Quiles reports, this is home to about 200 Filipinos who know too well the value of the COVID vaccine.
Some 480 kilometers west of mainland Palawan is Pag-asa Island, the stronghold of the Philippines in the disputed Spratlys. Because it's in the middle of the sea, the pandemic is not a problem as the island remains COVID-19 free. The island has around 200 residents, but it cannot afford to have even a single COVID-19 case because they only have a nurse and a health clinic with basic equipment.
So yun yung sinabi namin sa mga tao na hirap dito kung magkasakit kayo. Kaya as much as possible, kung ano yung mga preventive measures na pwede natin magawa, kahit hindi sa COVID-19, ginagawa namin yan dito.
Residents of Pag-asa only see doctors whenever there are medical missions. That's like once a year before the pandemic, but this year, none. Their medicines and other medical supplies are already depleting. Despite recording zero COVID-19 case, Pag-asa Island registered a 92% vaccination rate among its eligible population. Vaccines reached the island last June.
Bilang health officer, ang ginawa namin, information dissemination. Kasi ang mahalaga talaga na naiintindihan ng mga tao kung gaano ka-importante ang pagpapabakuna.
Some of those who have yet to get vaccinated are new residents. Some were deferred as they need medical clearance from doctors. And just like anywhere else, some are just afraid of the vaccines.
Hindi pa po kami nagpa-schedule na pa po kami magpabakuna. Pero kung in case naman po na-require kami, magpapabakuna naman po kami.
Kasi may internet na din kasi dito. Kaya nababasa na din nila yung mga effects ng iba. Tapos may mga nababasa din sila mga fake news.
Modular or home-based learning is also not a thing in Pag-asa. Teacher Rialyn Limbo says they never stop their face-to-face classes.
Ninodule ko umpisa nag-print ako. Tapos namigay ako sa parents. Tapos na-notice ko parang hirap sila. Kasi yung mga parents dito hindi naman lahat nakagraduate.
May elementary, may high school. So binabalik nila sa akin ang module, matagal.
There are only 34 students from kindergarten to grade 6 in the island, with only 2 teachers and 2 teacher aides educating them. From Pag-asa Island in the West Philippine Sea, George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
Officials in Mimaropa said they're willing to send help to residents of Pag-asa Island and will cooperate with the town officials. Heads up, motorists' pump prices are set to go down again this week. Beginning tomorrow, Petron, Caltex, Clean Fuel, Flying V, Petrogas, Phoenix Petroleum, PTT Philippines, Sea Oil, and Uni Oil will slash gasoline prices by 85 centavos per liter. The same fuel companies will impose a hefty price cut on diesel at 1 peso and 20 centavos per liter. Petron, Caltex, Flying V, and Sea Oil will have an even bigger rollback on kerosene prices at 1 peso and 30 centavos per liter. Other oil companies have yet to announce their price adjustments. The number coding scheme soon to make a comeback in Metro Manila nearly 2 years into the pandemic. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority says it may be implemented before the end of November or the first week of December, pending approval from Metro Manila mayors. Speaking to CNN Philippines, MMDA Director Noemi Resio explains traffic volume in NCR is slowly increasing and may exceed pre-pandemic levels. The agency expects more or less 405,000 vehicles on major roads as the holiday rush draws near. It says it wants to bring back the number coding scheme in a bid to control traffic amid eased restrictions.
Actually, there were 3 options evaluated by MMDA. Number 1 is to be implemented during peak hours only. The peak hour volume is from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Second option is peak hour in the morning, which is 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., and peak hour in the afternoon, that is 5 to 8 p.m. And the third option is the whole day number coding, usual from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
MMDA Chairman Benher Abalos says Metro Manila mayors are set to discuss the proposal this week. Petitioners asking the Commission on Elections to reject presidential aspirant Bongbong Marcos's response to their petition to cancel his candidacy. Lawyer Theodore Te has filed a motion for reconsideration seeking a reversal of the poll body's earlier decision to give Marcos 5 more days to respond to the plea. Marcos's team filed a response Friday where they claimed the presidential aspirant has all the qualifications to vie for the top post. Now that's despite having been convicted for not filing his income tax returns for 4 years. The original deadline was November 16, but the extension gave Marcos until today to comply. Attorney Te says the request for more time was not justified since the Marcos camp merely cited that their new lawyer, Estelito Mendoza, has been grappling with other cases and needed time to review and prepare their answer. A group of human rights defenders also asking the COMELEC to conduct an internal probe into how Marcos's spokesman Vic Rodriguez knew ahead of time that the Second Division will grant the request. Rodriguez told CNN Philippines last Thursday that their plea was already granted. COMELEC's decision, however, only came out afternoon the next day. Te's group fears the Marcos camp has, quote, undue insider knowledge about COMELEC's actions, unquote, which they say casts doubts on the credibility of the poll body and the elections. A decision on the case is expected by December. The results for illegal drug consumption came out negative for both Senator Ping Lacson and Senate President Tito Soto. The Soto-Lacson tandem made the move after President Duterte claimed that a presidential hopeful uses cocaine. Vice presidential aspirant Soto mentioned that as principal author of the Dangerous Drugs Act, he pushed for drug testing of all political candidates. But the Supreme Court declared the provision unconstitutional. Presidential hopeful Lacson added that now it is up to other aspirants to follow suit with a drug screening.
Nasa sa kanila na yun, hindi naman na kami pwede mag-impose sa kanila. Sabi nga ni Senate President, na-declare ng unconstitutional. So voluntary lang talaga.
At para maipakita natin sa mga kababayan natin na ikangay malinis ang ating hangarin.
National Police Chief Leonardo Carlos said they are verifying information as far back as 5 years ago to investigate allegations about the presidential aspirant's cocaine use. Still on Newsnight, singer Adele gets Spotify to remove its default shuffle feature, and K-pop sensation BTS is Artist of the Year at the 2021 American Music Awards. You're watching CNN Philippines.
Love is all about time. Di minamadali ang pagpapasarap. Like the love in every Pure Foods ready to eat. Slow cooked and ready in 8 minutes. Para may time ka sa mga mahal mo. Because love takes time.
For my babies, only vet-approved Nutri-Chunks puppies. The only one with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat with essential nutrients to help them grow strong and healthy. Happiness! Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks puppies.
Sa pagbangon ng mga Pilipino, saludo ako sa mga taong patuloy na humaharap sa hamon ng pagbabago.
Bilang isang ina, handa akong gawin ang lahat para sa kaligtasan ng aking mga anak.
Pandemya man, tuloy pa rin ang serbisyo para malinis ang kapaligiran.
Serbisyong publiko para sa kaligtasan ng lahat.
Sa panahon ng krisis, ikaw, ako, magtulungan tayo. Saludo ako sa Pilipino.
Sino nga ba ang masarap kainuman? Di yung magaang kasama. Sun Mig Light was introduced in 1999 at just 100 calories. True to its name, this beer was light and less filling, making it magaang sa tiyan para sa mahaba-habang inuman.
So the main difference of Sun Mig Light with the other beers is its calorie content. Sun Mig Light has lower calories because it has reduced amount of these other components, the residual carbohydrates and proteins.
This pioneering light beer brand built strong affinity among the younger crowd because of how it uses the brand's platform to spark conversations on important social topics during these challenging times. Whether it's the pandemic or another full day at work stressing you out, grab a Sun Mig Light to unwind and reset over an inuman with friends.
Boracay has put the country on the map for domestic and international tourism. It is only fitting that the gateway to this paradise island is modern and state-of-the-art. SMC Infrastructure has taken the lead in overseeing the improvements of the Boracay Airport. Throughout the years, it carried several name changes, from Caticlan Airport to Godofredo P. Ramos Airport. But it lagged behind in upgrades until SMC Infrastructure stepped in. Now the current and long-term developments include the construction of an international airport passenger terminal. SMC Infrastructure also extended the existing runway to better serve bigger aircrafts. From 950 meters, it now stretches up to 2,100 meters long, keeping passengers happy and satisfied as they escape into the relaxing beaches and waters of Boracay.
Watching Newsnight, I'm Pia Hontiveros. Grammy-winning artist Adele is making sure that fans get to listen to her new album 30 the way she intended them to. Citing this as the only request she's had in the ever-changing industry, the singer asked Spotify to let all Spotify users play album songs in order. And what Adele wants, she gets. The shuffle button is now just an option instead of the default in listening to albums. The chart-topping vocalist just starred in a highly anticipated television special and audience with Adele, where she sang hits like Rolling in the Deep and new tracks from 30. Well, BTS made history at the American Music Awards today as the first Asian act to win Artist of the Year. CNN's Britt Conway gives us a look at all of the big winners and performances in today's Hollywood Minute.
BTS owned the night at the AMAs. The K-pop group performed with Coldplay early in the show and then won 3 awards, including Artist of the Year.
Wow. We believe that this awards opens the beginning of our new chapter.
And the night turned out pretty sweet for the artist behind the hit album Sour, Olivia Rodrigo. After a moving rendition of her song Traitor, the pop star took home New Artist of the Year.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little nervous, I'm shaking.
Rapper Cardi B hosted the American Music Awards for the first time ever and managed to snag Best Hip Hop Song for her hit Up along the way.
Anyways, I gotta go home.
Representing Boston.
There was a blast from the past when the show held the Battle of Boston, featuring boy bands from Beantown, New Kids on the Block, and New Edition. The evening wrapped with another performance from the big winners, BTS. I'm Britt Conway reporting.
Like BTS, fellow Artist of the Year nominee Taylor Swift also won in major categories at the AMAs. Swift took 2 trophies, including Favorite Pop Album for Evermore. With these wins, she extends her reign as the AMA's most awarded artist, even for 4 years now. Despite her absence from the show, another big winner is Megan Thee Stallion. The 26-year-old snagged top prizes in her genre, including Favorite Female Hip-Hop Artist. She tied with BTS and fellow rapper Doja Cat for biggest winners of the night, grabbing 3 awards each. It is 33 days before Christmas, and that is it for tonight. Join me again on News.ph at 7 p.m. I'm Pia Hontiveros for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
Fiber-rich foods have so many health benefits. These types of food help us maintain a healthy weight. They also normalize our bowel movement, lower our risk of certain diseases like diabetes as well as some cancers, and ultimately, this helps us live longer. So what should be on our grocery list to up our fiber intake? On the program today, our guide to a high-fiber diet. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez. Welcome to MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. We all know that whole plant foods are good for us. This is primarily because they're high in fiber. Fiber is a non-digestible carbohydrate that plays a vital role in our health. Our guests are here today to tell us more about this. With us is Dr. Luis Abola. He's a gastroenterologist and the chief of gastroenterology at UERM. Also with us is Jake Brandon Andal. He's a registered clinical dietitian from the Philippine Society of Nutritionist Dietitians. We've mentioned a few of the benefits of having a high-fiber diet, but there's so much more to this. I'll start first with Jake. Can you tell us about some other benefits of having a high-fiber diet?
Yung pagkonsumo ng fiber ay nakikita natin sa mga pag-aaral na madaming mga posibleng benepisyo. Ngayon nakikita natin na madami silang possible benefits tulad ng sinabi ko, pagpapababa ng kolesterol, pagpababa ng asukal, at ngayon sa mga bagong pag-aaral nakikita natin yung role ng fiber sa pagpapababa ng inflammation, dulot ng mga sakit, at pati sa mental health, meron din silang mga possible benefits.
Constipation o yung paghirap sa pagdumi is one of the most common digestive problems. And when we're feeling constipated, the best advice we get is to eat high-fiber foods such as green leafy vegetables, maybe beans and some fruit, just to name a few. Now, Dr. Luis, when it comes to fiber, having fiber in our diet, what does this actually do for the health of our GI tract?
Okay, so if you have fiber in your diet, the fiber, remember it contains parts that cannot be digested. Dito na digest ng katawan natin. So it goes to the GI tract, to the colon, where it is acted upon by bacteria.
Now, high-fiber foods also helps us with our overall health, not just our digestive system. And there are certain digestive conditions that can be avoided or even made better through high-fiber rich foods. One of them in particular I'd like to talk about is diverticulitis. Dr. Luis, could you explain to our viewers what this is and how high-fiber diet can help with this condition?
So, diverticulitis is an inflammation of a diverticle. So pag walang inflammation, we call this diverticulosis. So, yung diverticle, yung lumolobo yung outside, yung pinakalabas ng parte ng large intestines natin. And this is caused by high pressure. Pag may high pressure sa colon, especially let's say kung constipated ka and you start straining because of the inherent weakness of the colonic wall, nagbaballoon out siya. Ngayon pag may diverticles ka na, diverticulosis, mataas ang risk of diverticulitis, and not only diverticulitis, but it's also a common cause of hemorrhage, of lower GI bleeding.
Okay. Now, a high-fiber diet can also lower our risk of colon cancer, which is one of the leading types of cancers around the world. Dr. Luis, pag-usapan naman natin ito because I think it's important for Filipinos to know about the risk of colon cancer.
What we've noticed also in the Philippines is that we are getting more colon cancer patients, and this is because we are transforming into a Western diet. No? We're eating less fiber and eating more meat, no, red meat especially. So, so I encourage my patients to have a high fiber diet.
Now, there are other conditions prevalent in our country that fiber can help protect against. For one, a high fiber diet can actually lower cholesterol levels. And according to studies, 1 in 2 Filipinos have high cholesterol. So there's a big chance na yung kasama niyong nanonood nito ay may high cholesterol. Jake, how does this work? Paano nakakatulong ang fiber sa pagpababa ng cholesterol?
Kapag tayo ay kumukonsumo ng soluble fiber, ito ay parang nagiging gel-like structure sa ating sikmura. At itong gel-like structure na ito ay magpapaiwas ng absorption ng ating cholesterol. At yung ating bile na kinakailangan din sa pagsipsip ng cholesterol ay kanya ding pinipigilan yung function. So ibig sabihin, nagkakaroon na talaga ng pagbawas sa ating pagsipsip sa cholesterol. Tandaan natin na ang cholesterol, even if it is an essential nutrient, ay kinakailangan lang sa napakaliit na amounts dahil ang ating katawan ay may kakayahan na mag-resynthesize o gamitin natin yung ating inherent cholesterol. Kaya ang pangangailangan sa isang araw ay napakakonti. At kung titingnan natin yung ating dieta, kadalasan ito yung mga matataas sa processed foods na also mataas sa high cholesterol. Sa pagdami ng pagkonsumo ng cholesterol sa pagkain, maaaring ito ay magdulot din ng pagtaas ng cholesterol sa dugo. At dito papasok yung role ng fiber doon nga po sa pag-iwas ng pagsipsip nito.
Okay, and as just a reminder for our viewers, all of this, a good fiber diet, should work in conjunction with the maintenance medications that your doctor gives you. Now, a high fiber diet can also help control blood sugar levels. Here in the country, ang dami nating Filipinos na merong diabetes. Over 6 million Filipinos at that. And many more are actually pre-diabetic. Dr. Luis, could you explain to our viewers a little bit how having a high fiber diet can help those, especially those who are pre-diabetic?
So it prevents the absorption of cholesterol as well as glucose, so that you do not get an increase of your blood sugar. So it's still the same mechanism as mentioned in preventing the absorption of cholesterol.
Okay. Now, for those of you looking to shed those extra quarantine pounds naman, high fiber foods are known to help with weight loss. Jake, how do these foods affect our weight?
Naku, ito pa yung isa din sa mga wonders of fiber because, again, like what I mentioned earlier, when we consume fiber, nagbibigay siya ng bulk sa ating pagkain. And that bulk can actually promotes early satiety or madaling pagkabusog. So if we will compare two plates, one having your standard ulam and then white rice versus a plate with brown rice and then your high fiber vegetables and fruits, makikita natin na mas nakaka-induce ng pagkabusog yung may mataas na fiber. Dahil nga nagbibigay siya ng bulk na iyon.
Now, we've been talking about a high fiber diet for those who have certain conditions, high cholesterol, hindi masyado maganda ang blood sugar, but a high fiber diet can actually also benefit those with no problems and who are considered normal. This can actually make you live longer in general. Dr. Luis, how can a high fiber diet or a diet good in fiber make someone's lifestyle good overall?
It decreases your risk of developing high cholesterol, reducing your blood sugar, and it helps you keep your ideal body weight. No? So it prevents you from gaining so much weight na mas madali kang mabubusog, and it's also nutritious naman. No? It contains all the required micronutrients that you will need also.
Now, when choosing high-fiber foods in the grocery store, keep in mind that not all fiber is created equal, and there are different kinds of fiber depending on their water solubility. Now, we've been talking about this also, soluble fiber, insoluble fiber. Dr. Luis, explain mo sa mga viewers natin exactly kung anong difference nitong dalawa.
Pag soluble, ibig sabihin, if you put it in water, it dissipates. Pag insoluble, it does not dissipate. So, and they are both called, if your soluble and insoluble fiber are both dietary fiber. Yung mga soluble fibers will be your fruits, your nuts, whole wheat bread. Tapos yung insoluble fibers will be more of your grains, your oats, wheat bran, mga ganon.
Okay.
So both of them are helpful actually.
You need healthy amounts of both kinds of fiber in order to have a well-balanced diet. So how much fiber do we actually need? And how much fiber is actually too much? We'll discuss this after a short break. Stay with us here on MedTalk Health Talk. You're watching CNN Philippines. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez. Welcome back to MedTalk Health Talk. We're your partner in healthcare. High-fiber foods can improve your overall health, but many fall short of the recommended amount each day. And although rare, too much fiber can be harmful to your health. On MedTalk Health Talk, we'll guide you in getting the fiber you need. Now, Jake, gaano kadaming fiber ang recommended in a day?
Kung titingnan po natin yung mga current recommendations of different medical societies, some are postulating that we need 20 to 25 grams of fiber per day. Consuming 4 to 5 servings of fruits and vegetables, and also trying incorporating yung mga high-fiber carbohydrate sources natin, like brown rice and whole grains, can actually easily make us achieve our requirements for dietary fiber per day.
I'd like to ask Dr. Luis, is there a potential actually, ang mas common is kulang tayo sa fiber. What kind of situations happen when someone eats too much fiber, and what could happen to that person, Dr. Luis?
Well, too much fiber will cause some symptoms like bloatedness and some abdominal discomfort. Kasi remember, as I mentioned, yung fiber is not digested, it's not really broken down, so it's acted upon by bacteria. And the bacteria actually ferments this, and so you produce a lot of gas. So yung mga iba may complain, no? Once they start taking fiber diet, they will start having bloatedness, abdominal cramps. So what you can do is just parang unti-unti mo lang umpisahan, no? Unti-unti mo lang umpisahan hanggang ma-reach mo yung tolerable level mo. Not wag biglang mag-binge ng fiber, but I mean 30 grams, 20 to 25 grams is the required, and going beyond that may not be helpful anymore.
It's best to check with your doctor and talk about the symptoms that you are feeling. Now, Jake, it's best always to get your fiber from your food, but how about for some people? Are supplements recommended in cases such as this? Would you recommend that?
Yung too much fiber intake can cause constipation, gastric upsets. And just to add to the discussion, it can also decrease your mineral absorption, calcium and iron. So such as we see in patients with very high fiber intakes, nagiging anemic din sila and at risk for osteoporosis. Now, when do we observe too much fiber intake? We observe too much fiber intake for patients who take supplements without medical and nutrition advice from a professional. Bear in mind that these nutritional fiber supplements are concentrated. The doses can already be 20 grams per serving. No? So if a patient would consume 2 or 3 times of that specific supplement, then the intake would be 3 times the recommended. So this is something that we try to make the patients avoid. Supplements are there. It can help patients for those who experience constipation and etc. But again, please seek advice from your gastroenterologist and your nutritionist dietitian before you take them, because they have specific ways to how to optimize the intake of this. And at the end of the day, fiber supplements will not replace the fiber that you will get from your fruits and vegetables.
Okay, very good advice. Now, Dr. Luis, are there any situations, medical conditions, where a person cannot tolerate fiber? If this is the case, what is their options?
Of course, if some people may have some intolerance to certain food products, let's say if you're intolerant to wheat products, so if you have what we call gluten sensitivity, probably what the best thing to do here is to determine what type of fiber that you can easily eat, because not all fiber-containing products have gluten, and then take this on a regular basis.
So if you're looking to add more fiber to your diet, we will review the best fiber choices when we return. We want to be your partner for a lifetime of good health. So stay with us on CNN Philippines. Today, we'll walk you through your high-fiber grocery list. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and this is MedTalk Health Talk, where your healthcare always comes first. Jake, what are the best high-fiber foods to incorporate in our diets na madaling makita naman sa grocery store ng ating mga viewers?
So ito mga basic recommendations na pwedeng i-take down notes natin ng ating mga manonood. Unang-una, kapag po kayo ay bibili ng mga biskwit, mga tinapay at iba pang mga food products, tingnan natin yung mga health claims na may nakalagay na fiber-enriched o high in fiber. Ibig sabihin nito, pwede siyang magbigay ng malaking portion ng fiber na pinakailangan nyo sa isang araw. Pangalawa, plant-based proteins, your munggo, garbanzos, chickpeas, mga butong gulay, good sources of fiber. There are also good sources of protein as well. So you get both benefits of having protein and fiber in the meal. This is very beneficial for those who want to try to lose weight or those who are building up muscles. And also, as an added benefit, meron silang mataas na fiber. Steer away from white bread, white rice, and also white carbohydrates, white starches, because these are processed and they have very low fiber. Let's go with the colored ones. Red rice, black rice, o kaya yung mga whole wheat bread natin, which is brown in color. Kapag po kayo ay mamimili ng inyong mga prutas at gulay at fiber, ang isa sa inating sinasuggest na pinapataas, piliin natin yung una, mas nangunguya, at yung mga medyo mas mapapait. So yung mga mas nangunguya, yung mga guava, pineapple, apple, ito yung may mga matataas sa fiber kasi yung mga matitigas na part ng fruits na iyon, yun ay actually dietary fiber.
Speaking of the overall health of our gut, will fiber be able to compensate for the bad habits that some people do, like the eating of a lot of red meat? Will that be offset by eating a lot of fiber?
We would like to encourage the growth of what we call the good bacteria, the bacteria that helps out, that helps in the wellness of the body. So probably if you cannot get out of red meat, probably you should have more fiber rather than red meat. Okay, because I know it's hard to stop that, but encourage that. I tell my patients every day you should eat servings of, especially 4 to 5 servings of fruits or vegetables.
When it comes to the Filipino gut, in your practice, ano yung mga bad habits na ginagawa ng mga Pilipino in terms of the overall health ng gut?
We are moving towards a Western diet, fast food, processed food, rich in fat, and we've cut down, as mentioned, as already shown in the study, that we are not taking enough fiber. So that is one of the more important things. That probably we drink a lot of sodas, a lot of beverages that may not be very helpful.
Dr. Luis, how about those viewers who are curious na gusto na lang malaman kung healthy ba talaga ang gut nila? What type of tests, or of course, after consulting with a gastroenterologist, what type of tests would be beneficial to find out the overall health of someone's gut?
Well, the basic is just really to do a stool exam. From the stool exam, makikita kung if there are any bacteria or if there's any fat globules. Kasi pag may fat globules, ibig sabihin nagkakaroon ng fat malabsorption na. And then, for the elderly, I would also recommend that they have a occult blood test. No? Occult blood test is a biochemical test on the stool to detect the presence of blood. Kasi pwedeng normal appearing in blood, but you may have some bleeding in the gut. So that is what I would recommend, the stool exam as well as a fecal occult blood test.
With that, I'd like to thank gastroenterologist Dr. Luis Abola and registered clinical dietitian Mr. Jake Brandon Andal for guiding us on our journey today. We hope our conversation was very helpful to our viewers. In today's reality, we've all learned not to take our health for granted. Adding more fiber into your diet is a simple but effective way to keep healthy, reduce the risk of certain diseases, and ultimately, what we want is to live longer. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and we'll see you again next time.
Let's be the solusyon plus sa COVID-19. B. Bawal walang mask at face shield. I. Isanitize ang kamay at iwasan ang kulob na lugar. D. Dumistansya ng 1 metro at limitahan ang pisikal na interaksyon sa iba. A. Alamin ang tamang impormasyon. Plus, suportahan ang FDA-approved na bakuna. BIDA Plus. Bida Solusyon Plus sa COVID-19.
Lolo, Lola, 1 taon na tayong nahiwalay dahil sa quarantine. Miss na po namin kayo at inyong masasarap na luto at pag-aalaga. May bakuna na raw po sa COVID-19. Kunin niyo po ha. Kapag nabakunahan na ang lahat, makakapiling na muli namin kayo. Ingat po.
Kung ikaw ay edad 60 pataas o may iba pang karamdaman, magparehistro na para sa Res Bakuna kontra COVID-19. Res Bakuna, kasangga ng bida at ni Lolo't Lola.
Ano ba ang maaaring maramdaman matapos magpabakuna kontra COVID-19? Maaaring makaranas ng sakit sa ulo, lagnat, pagkahilo, sakit sa katawan o parte ng katawan kung saan binakunahan. Ngunit, huwag mag-alala, pinapaalala ng Department of Health, Bicol Center for Health Development, na ito ay mga karaniwang reaksyon ng bakuna sa ating katawan. Isa lamang itong indikasyon na ang bakuna ay epektibo sa pagbibigay sa atin ng proteksyon laban sa COVID-19. Kung makakaramdam ng mga ito, mainam na mag-self-monitor o pumunta sa lugar kung saan kayo binakunahan upang mabigyan ng abiso kung ano ang mga dapat gawin. Suportahan ang Bida Vaccination, maging Res Bakuna para protektado laban sa COVID-19.
Dumating na ang Res Bakuna kasangga laban sa COVID-19. At dahil ang dating nito ay by batches din ang babakunahan. Sa Priority A na grupo, una na ang ating health frontliners. Susunod ang mga mahal nating seniors. Pagkatapos ay mga taong may ibang karamdaman, mga frontliner na non-medical. At susunod ang mga kapuspalad. Mag-abang lamang dahil may priority groups B and C pa. Patuloy nating suportahan ang Res Bakuna at maging bahagi tayo ng Bida Vaccination.
Nanlalabo na ba ang inyong mga paningin? O kailangan mo ng proteksyon laban sa radiation? Ano pa ang hindi hintay nyo? Pumunta na sa The Vintage Optical. Ang optical para sa lahat. Visit us at the ground floor, Gaisano Capital, Barangay San Roque, Iriga City. We offer free computerized eye examination, free frame. Lente lang ang babayaran. Starts at 999 complete eyeglasses with anti-radiation lens. The Vintage Optical, the widest selection of optical signature frames and sunglasses. The Vintage Optical, ang optical para sa lahat.
At center, number 11, the Kaiju, Kai Soto.
Kai Soto, bagong basketball star. Sa sipag at tiyaga at sa tulong ng sustansyarap ng Star Margarine, mas abot ni Kai ang pangarap niya.
Kai goes for the shot. Slam dunk!
Puno ng power nutrients na tulong pampatangkad, pampasigla at pampalakas, kasabay ng proper diet at exercise.
Sa Star Margarine, mas abot ko ang pangarap ko.
Ako po si Ernesto Salvador. 66 años na po ako. Kahirap po talaga ang taxi driver. Madalas hindi ako nakakahiye, hindi ako kakainom ng tubig, kaya siguro nagkaroon ako ng UTI. Dito sa likod ng tagiliran ko, nakaramdam ako ng pananakit. Tsaka nahirapan na akong umihi. May nakapagsabi sa akin, try ang Kidney Care.
Ang Kidney Care ay may pomegranate panlaban sa mga toxins at nagpapababa ng creatinine.
Pinubong ko naman, siguro mga isang linggo kong ininom, guminawa naman ang pinaramdam ko. Kaya tinuloy-tuloy ko. Hanggang sa nawala na yung nararamdaman ko sa tagiliran ko. Kahit mas matanda na ako ngayon, pakiramdam ko malakas ang aking katawan dahil inalagaan ko ang aking sarili.
Ang Kidney Care ay mabibili sa Mercury Drugstore at mga suking butika.
Ang Kidney Care hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
Ako po si Emmanuel H. de la Sala, taga Barangay Bapor, Masbate City, BS Ed English sa Liceo de Masbate. Nagapasalamat sa ako Bicol Party List kan Congressman Elizalde Esco, kag Congressman Alfredo Egar Bin Jr. paagi sa oportunidad na makabaton sa educational assistance bilang suporta sa akon pagaklase sa kolehiyo. Kag ini magiging paagi na matupadan akon pangarap kag mabuligan ang akon ginikanan. Sana damo pan iyo mabuligan. Mabuhay ako Bicol Party List.
Ako Bicol Party List. Katabang na, kasurug pa.
Salamat, salamat, hindi malilimutan ating pinagdaanan, ating pinagsamahan, sa hirap at ginhawa, sa lungkot at saya. Salamat, salamat, salamat sa RPN. Noong simula pa lamang, kayo ang naging magulang.
Sa aking bawat hakbang, tulong niyo'y tamang daan.
Sa aking mga pagsubok, kayo'y laging tumutok.
Kayo na ang laging kapay, hanggang sa magtagumpay.
Salamat, salamat, hindi malilimutan. Gintong alaala ng ating pagsasama, sa hirap at ginhawa, sa lungkot at saya. Salamat, salamat, salamat sa RPN. Ako'y makilala, sikat sa buong madla.
Ang ibang karangalan, sa lahat bahagi ka.
Ngayon ka nakita, hinubog ng lumipas.
At bawat ngayon at bukas, nakabukit hanggang wakas.
Salamat, salamat, salamat sa pagkakataon na makapiling, makabalikan, maging bahagi ng mundo. Salamat, salamat, taus-pusong pasasalamat. Salamat, salamat, salamat sa RPN. pinagdaanan, ating pinagdaanan, ating pinagsamahan. Sa hirap at ginawa, sa lungkot at saya. Salamat, salamat, salamat sa RPN.
Ang pinakaenot sa ringkunada. Puon kay do sa gudngunyan. Minaanduyog sa baga na mamanuan. Katuwang para sa kauswagan. Sa mga bareta, patas. Sa impormasyon, public service, enot ka. Malalaoman, katotohanan ang sinasarigan. Inina ang bagong Radyo Ronda. DZKI-IRIGA Radyo Ronda. Ang maugmang kairiba. Madya na.
RPN Provincial Stations, DZBS Baguio, DYKB Bacolod, DXXX Zamboanga, DXKO Cagayan de Oro, DXDX General Santos, DYKC Cebu, DZKI-IRIGA, DXKD Dipolo, DXKS Surigao, DXKP Pagadian, DXKT Davao, at DZRL Bata. RPN Provincial Stations.
RPN Radio Philippines Network, Radyo Ronda, DZKI-IRIGA, member kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Heavenly Father, we have now reached the day's end. Let us rest from today's work that we may awaken to a new day, refreshed and renewed. We thank you for your unfailing help and protection this day. Forgive us for our failings, for our selflessness towards one another, and open our hearts to forgiveness and reconciliation. Ease the burden of the troubled. Bring joy to those who are in sorrow. We pray for the safety of the travelers. Grant wisdom, empathy, and compassion for those guarding the well-being of our nation and those with responsibilities. Continue to shower your blessings in our families and preserve the unity of our society, now and the days to come. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. You have been listening to DZKI-IRIGA Radyo Ronda, a commercial radio broadcasting station owned and operated by Radio Philippines Network Incorporated as authorized by the National Telecommunications Commission with license number BSD-0029-2021, effective on January 1, 2021, valid until December 31, 2023. DZKI-IRIGA Radyo Ronda operates daily on 1332 kHz with a power of 1,000 watts. This station is under the supervision of RPN Engineering headed by Engineer Joar C. Malnegro, ECE number 11753. Its operation and maintenance are carried out by the following electronics and communications engineer and first-class radio telephone operators duly licensed by the Professional Regulation Commission and National Telecommunications Commission. Abi Lindon C. Toralio, ECE number 36558, Jameson T. Oco, 94-1PV 3794, Charlie P. Buena Obra, 93-1PV 7860, Felix G. Lagrimas, 93-1PNCR 4224, and Joaner L. De Villa, 031PV 25873. RPN-DZKI-IRIGA Radyo Ronda is now signing off.